Good morning. This is Eleanor with Audible Local Ledger. Today is Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, and I'll be reading you some stories from the Sommerset Spectator. First up, craft burgers, not dogs, and more. The new Choo Choo dining car on a roll in Somerset. Somerset. There's a new restaurant satisfying locals' cravings for creative comfort food in Somerset. Things are chugging along at the recently opened Choo Choo, which has brought new life to the iconic Route 6 railroad car following the closure of Missing Link Barbecue in early August. Choo Choo owner Tom Lyon was one half of the former Missing Link team. After that partnership parted ways this summer, Lyon, a seasoned chef, took the driver's seat at the unique 938 Lees River Ave restaurant space. I wanted to stay, and I really enjoy the location, said Lyon, who served as pitmaster and creative force behind the food at the former Missing Link. Everyone seemed to respond well to the product and seemed to like what I was doing, so I decided to jump off the dock with my own feet and see what I can do. After what Lyon describes as a solid debut September 4th, it's full steam ahead as the 100% scratch craft kitchen looks to make its own mark on the South Coast. I want it to be part of the community. I'd like it to be somewhere people know they can always go and get good quality food that isn't overprocessed and makes you feel good about yourself, Lyon said. Lyon shared his vision for the train's next chapter, from what awaits folks who hop aboard now to some exciting plans down the line. An unforgettable culinary journey. Somerset train sees new life as Choo Choo Craft Kitchen. What to know? What's new at the Somerset food train? As far as the interior, not too much has changed. The train underwent a full months-long rebuild before Missing Link opened for dining aboard the train last fall, so Choo Choo required only minor aesthetic changes, new curtains, decor, light fixtures, to bring a more industrial vibe to it, and soon a new exterior sign calling all local foodies. Before it had the vibe of a roadhouse. Now it feels more like a dining car, Lyon said. There are 6 booths on the train, which accommodates roughly 32 diners. One noticeable change to the interior is the addition of a big communal table in the front of the train where everyone can come together and meet your neighbor, Lyon said. The patio remains open for dining for all who would like to eat outdoors, but is not currently full service. As far as food goes, Lyon's new craft kitchen concept allows him to mix things up a bit menu-wise. One thing I like about not being a barbecue place by name is I have a little bit more freedom. I'm not pigeonholed into one flavor profile, he said. Choo Choo still has a lot of the fan-favorite Southern fare you could find at the former Missing Link, and more, a lot more. I just love cooking and I love barbecue. I think the classic American barbecue and cooking very low and slow over wood is something that makes food taste dramatically different, dramatically better than any other way of cooking, he said. Even though he's not doing all the barbecue he was doing before, stepping away from certain items such as ribs, half chicken, and sliced brisket, and leaning more into really quality craft burgers, Lyon noted there is still a heavy smoked element to all of the dishes. So far, Choo Choo's unique craft burgers, made of 100% brisket meat that's ground in-house, have been a popular pick for patrons. End of the line. Somerset Missing Link Barbecue closed its doors. Here's what to know. People have also gravitated toward chicken wraps, such as their jerk chicken wrap that was a carryover from Missing Link, and his curious creations dubbed Not Dogs. I take pulled pork, season it, and dress it up, and it ends up tasting pretty darn close to a hot dog, Lyon said. Big buns are stuffed with Lyon's own spin on different flavors of hot dogs from around the country. He also emphasized that Choo Choo's fare is 100% scratch-made. Other than the bread and the pasta, we're making everything here. What's coming at Choo Choo down the line? As Choo Choo picks up steam, Lyon has plans to expand their operation down the road. That starts with the return of breakfast. Breakfast has a good following. And this town is breakfast bananas. They love it, so I'm definitely working my tail off to bring breakfast back, Lyon said. He set a target date of Columbus Day, but hopes to introduce morning fare to the menu before then because, simply put, I really want some pancakes, Lyon said. By next spring and summer, he's also hoping to bring full-blown barbecue back with much-missed ribs, chicken, and brisket offerings. Other anticipated additions include meatballs, their own house-made sausage, and the eventual launch of a Tuesday night supper club. While Lyon is still ironing out that work, he envisions a prix-fixe multi-course menu serving up a weekly mystery of whatever is going to hit you. But it'll all be good, it'll all be filling, and it'll all be fresh. Catering will continue to be offered at the new restaurant, so folks who miss certain Missing Link barbecue classics can find them on Choo Choo's catering menu. When can we visit Choo Choo? Choo Choo serves lunch and dinner Wednesday through Sunday. Hours are 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Wednesday through Saturday, and 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. Lyon said he's excited for this train's new beginning. I want to grow this little train to be something special, he said. I think this is a great location, and I think with the Family Fun Center that's moving in down the street, this will give people more of an option while they're out and about. The next story. No danger at Swansea High School after online threats made, but police will be present. Swansea. Police will be present at Swansea schools for the rest of the week after the Swansea Police Department investigated a number of social media threats made by a high school student. Police said they found the non-specific threats were not credible and there is no danger to students or school safety. On Wednesday, police said, multiple students at Joseph Case High School told athletic director Anthony Palladino that a student had sent non-specific threats on social media, raising questions about student safety. Police said Palladino notified Principal Christopher Costa, who brought it to the attention of the school resource officer and Swansea Police. Investigating officers visited the student's home and determined the student did not have the means to carry out the threat. The student has been removed from the school. No criminal charges have been filed. Swansea Public Schools will be handling this matter internally. Next, the Hulksters in the house. Wrestler Hulk Hogan greets beer-buying fans in Swansea. The Hulkster was in the house on Wednesday, greeting fans at Yankee Spirits in Swansea and selling his new line of beer to a sold-out crowd. WWE Pro Wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan appeared at liquor stores in Swansea, Attleboro, and Foxborough on Wednesday. In Swansea, Hogan posed for photos and signed autographs for the first 250 customers to buy cases of his Real American beer. Hogan, whose real name is Terry Bollea, has been making the rounds of liquor stores nationwide to promote Real American beer, a brand he co-founded this summer. It's not yet available in all 50 states, but is available in 11, including Rhode Island. Hogan recently appeared at several stores in Rhode Island late in August. He's making another appearance in Boston on Thursday. According to a press release, Real American beer is an easy-drinking light lager with 4.2% alcohol by volume. We formed an all-star team to make it happen, and I'm excited to introduce Real American beer to fans and beer lovers everywhere, Hogan stated in a news release. The next story. These are your neighbors. 120-unit workforce housing project in Sommerset taking shape. Calls for affordable housing are nothing new as demand is outweighing supply and markets are at record-breaking highs. Working professionals, young people yearning to live independently, and folks looking to downsize are groups that surface in talks of housing shortages across the Commonwealth and in towns like Somerset. For developer Mark Landry, this problem deserves a bold solution. The Fairfield Commons Plaza at 602 Grand Army of the Republic Highway boasts of several popular commercial franchises, and Fairfield by Marriott Inn and Suites, all Landry's doing. Now, nearly 4 years since the Marriott's opening, He's laying the foundation of a third installment on 5 acres identified as the perfect spot for affordable housing, the Residences at Slade Farm. 120 new apartment units coming to Somerset. The Residences at Slade Farm housing complex coming to Fairfield Commons will have 120 units. 30 of them are designated workforce housing units, and the other 90 will be listed at market rate. They're all furnished and built to the exact same quality, Landry explained. More than half the units are one-bedrooms, 68 to be exact, joined by 44 two-bedroom units with a sprinkling of 12 three-bedroom units. 3 of those 12 units are allocated for what Landry called workforce housing, an acknowledgement of the confounding variations of what is deemed affordable as the housing crisis continues to breed concern. A total of 30 units are reserved for folks who earn up to 80% or less than the area median income, as defined by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, an unrealized figure dependent on the size of one's household. Approximately 25% of the units are considered workforce, with 21 of those units slotted for applicants working, living, or studying in Somerset. That's a police officer, it's a schools teacher, it's an assistant manager of a bank, or someone who works at a hotel, Landry said. We see it as a place for people to downsize, Landry added. This includes people who are just starting out, empty nesters, self-described young professionals, people who work in town government, or are involved in the school district. I would imagine that a lot of market rate and workforce housing will be occupied by people who already live in Somerset. These are your neighbors. How Somerset's project fits into Chapter 40B housing rules. It's not government housing and it's not low-income housing, Landry said, conveying that a 40B permit is precisely unique in all its levers and incentives. Casually regarded as a program that allows developers to flex zoning bylaws to increase the density of affordable homes in municipalities across Massachusetts, the state's Chapter 40B statute makes housing an option, alongside but not synonymous with subsidized housing. It also establishes a degree of permanence when it comes to housing opportunities. Those 30 units will always be available, Landry confirmed, stating that the workforce housing units will bear the stipulations around income limits indefinitely. It can't be changed in the construction phase or after. New 40B construction must be situated on a major roadway. Residents shall have access to public transportation and grocery stores, and pharmacies must fall within walking distance of their address. The site checked all the boxes, Landry said, maintaining that private equity and private lending is solely responsible for bringing this build to fruition. I'm happy we were able to employ so many local business people, local tradespeople, and local suppliers, Landry said, citing the vertical progress of the residences so far. Projects involving Chapter 40B are sanctioned and administered under the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, an agency that strives to make housing more affordable across Massachusetts. In particular, the office encourages all towns and cities to meet a threshold of at least 10% subsidized housing inventory. Somerset's inventory is at 3.64%. It's so needed, Landry said. Considering a move? Here's what to expect. The anticipated amenities at Slade Farm are bound to entice. Among those Landry mentioned, a fitness center, an outdoor patio, plus a community room geared toward hosting a space conducive to work-from-home employees. There will be 2 buildings, one housing 65 units and the other 55, each stacked 4 stories high. Residences will be ADA accessible and compliant. Those interested should expect an extensive application process, and those keen to snag a workforce unit will be entered in a lottery and vetted on the basis that a unit adequately meets an applicant's needs. More information about the application process is forthcoming, and Landry said he hopes to roll out the application itself in less than a year. Construction is expected to wrap up by the end of next year, with 2025 also welcoming a new restaurant to the central commercial space between the Marriott and the in-progress residences at Slade Farm. The number of people who have reached out, people who want to know more about it, who are very interested in living there, Landry recalled, is incredible. As a reminder, this is Tuesday, October 1st, with Audible Local Ledger and stories from the Sommerset Spectator. Swansea firefighters battle blaze at Birchwood Drive home. Firefighters on Tuesday afternoon battled a single-family house fire on Birchwood Drive off Route 103. The fire was reported around 1:30 p.m. at 105 Birchwood Drive. The house sits at the end of a lane of single-family homes. According to the Swansea Fire Department's Facebook page, upon arrival they found the rear of the home heavily involved with fire that rapidly extended interior to the basement, second floor, and attic. The fire was brought under control within 20 minutes of arrival, but firefighters remained on scene, checking for further extension and extinguishing hotspots. Shortly before 2 p.m., 3 engine companies, a rescue and ladder truck from the Swansea Fire Department were on scene. Swansea firefighters in turnout gear were seen leaving the small blue house with empty air canisters and cutting tools. Crews had the fire under control and were beginning the overhaul process. The cause of the fire remains under investigation by the fire department, with assistance from the Massachusetts State Police Fire and Explosion Investigation Unit attached to the State Fire Marshal's office. According to Swansea Fire Department, a preliminary investigation suggests the fire was accidental. The 3 occupants of the home are being assisted by the Red Cross, they added. Up next is a story from the Commonwealth Care Alliance of Massachusetts. Men often hesitate to seek help for mental health concerns. It's time to change that. Mark Wagoner, Massachusetts General Manager for the Commonwealth Care Alliance. Despite the progress we've made in normalizing discussions around mental health needs, the topic remains taboo for many men in our communities. According to a recent survey from the Cleveland Clinic, a staggering 65% of men say they hesitate to seek professional help for mental health concerns like stress, anxiety, and depression. Researcher Benita Chapman, Ph.D., MSN, RN, CNE, notes that American men are subjected to a culture where the standards of masculinity are literally killing them. Long outdated ideas about gender roles have created a dangerous stigma around men expressing their emotions, and that stigma is amplified when it comes to mental health. It's time to end the stigma and talk openly about men and mental health. While depression and anxiety are prevalent across all genders, ages, and communities, addiction and substance use disproportionately impact men, and that starts at an early age. Men are more likely than women to engage in alcohol and drug use in adolescence, leading to a rate of substance dependence among adult men that is twice that of women. Men are also more likely to drink excessively, more likely to experience an opioid overdose, and more likely to die by suicide. What counts for these differences? It starts with societal expectations. Researcher Simon Rice wrote in 2021 that traditional gender norms commonly drive young men to present as strong, competitive, in control, and unburdened by vulnerability. He continued, these cultural scripts prize toughness, anger, hostility, and emotional control. Conversely, emotions characterized by vulnerability, including sadness, anxiety, and fear, trigger shame and become a barrier to seeking help. Because these societal norms become entrenched during adolescence, around the same time as we commonly see the emergence of mental health and substance use disorders, men learn to bottle up these feelings rather than express them. Unfortunately, for many men, this silence becomes so ingrained that it is never unlearned. In a recent survey, 40% of men said they have never spoken to anyone about their mental health, with 29% of them saying they're too embarrassed to speak about it, and 20% admitting there is a negative stigma on the issue. While men are taught from a young age that they must be strong, this expectation is leading them to weaker health outcomes. According to the National Center of Health Statistics, the average life expectancy for women in the United States in 2021 was 79.3 years, while the average for men was 73.5 years. This life expectancy gap of 5.8 years is actually worse than it was 100 years ago, in spite of significant advancements in medicine. And while we can't change cultural norms overnight, there are steps we can take now to encourage more men to seek care for their mental health. The first step is building trust. At Commonwealth Care Alliance, we start by building rapport and trust with our members to better understand what is driving their mental health needs. Do they have stable food and housing? Are they isolated? Do they live in a safe environment? What are their family dynamics? What medical conditions do they have? Once we identify a root cause, we work together to find solutions. That may mean talk therapy, but not always. Sometimes it may mean finding solutions to financial concerns or getting treatment for physical ailments that are contributing to stress and anxiety. We connect members to food pantries, senior centers, AA meetings, community counselors, and other resources based on their needs, and we help them understand that seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Moving forward, let's commit to helping men of all ages end this stigma. Encourage the men in your lives to talk openly about how they feel. Reach out to a friend, son, brother, father, colleague, and ask how they're doing. As the saying goes, it's okay to not be okay. Commonwealth Care Alliance is a mission-driven healthcare services organization that supports older adults and individuals with the most significant needs. Visit ccama.org/health. United Way helping teachers who buy their own supplies. They've partnered with 11 schools. By Dan Medeiros. Fall River. With only a few days left before teachers and students return to classrooms, the United Way of Greater Fall River has connected 11 local schools with sponsors to make sure teachers have what they need without dipping into their own pockets. This is the 6th year the United Way has promoted its Teacher's Closet initiative, raising money to help schools be stocked up with staples. In this year, the group tweaked the program to pair up a local school with a corporate sponsor to build a one-on-one relationship. Teachers are very giving and loving people, and when a kid is in need, they take from their pocket and they give to the kid, said Executive Director Kim Smith. They do whatever it takes to make sure the kids have what they need. Patty Armstrong of the United Way said the group set its sights on adopting 8 local schools, 2 from Fall River and 6 from towns in the group's service area. They were chosen based on data from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to see which schools in each community were most in need, along with help from local school leadership. Thanks to an abundance of donations, the group exceeded its goal and created partnerships with 11 schools. Though other nonprofits have held drives to fill backpacks with supplies for kids, we're not one to duplicate effort, Smith said. We're all about convening and collaborating. Each school has its own corporate sponsor, chipping in $1,000 to fill the gap between what the school system already supplies and what teachers and kids need. Grant or sponsorship funding that we receive beyond what was already pledged will get used to replenish items in the different teachers' closets throughout the year to ensure this initiative is a sustainable one, said Janine Pohorley of the United Way. The teacher's closet isn't necessarily a literal closet. Each school fills out an online wish list of items that can be bought as needs arise. But a display at the United Way's Bedford Street offices showed the wide variety of possibilities and needs, the sort of items that teachers frequently need on hand. These supplies often run out quickly or aren't available from their own school supply closets, leading them to buy them themselves. On its shelves were the usual pencils and notebooks, but also paper towels, cleaning wipes, hand sanitizer, flashcards, sensory items, granola bars, even fresh socks for needy kids. Westport Superintendent Thomas Aubin noted that, even in his town, teachers see their share of poverty. Smith said she knows teachers are providing a lot more than education. Our next story. Estate of family killed in Christmas car crash sues driver, Sommerset woman, for damages. Dan Medeiros. The estate representing a family of 3 killed in a head-on collision on the Veterans Memorial Bridge this past Christmas has sued the driver involved in that crash, a Somerset resident accused of serving him alcohol, and the company that rented him a car. Carl Rebello of Dighton and Lisa Arudo Graham of Johnston, Rhode Island, filed a wrongful death civil lawsuit in Bristol County Superior Court in March. They represent the estates of Floriano Aruda, Donna Aruda, and Jacoby Aruda of Seekonk. They're seeking damages associated with the wrongful deaths of all 3, an amount not named in the suit. The Arudas were killed on Christmas night when the vehicle they were driving in struck head-on a Range Rover SUV going the wrong way on the Veterans Memorial Bridge between Somerset and Fall River. Jacoby Aruda died that night at Charlton Memorial Hospital in Fall River. His grandfather died the next day at Rhode Island Hospital. His grandmother died from her injuries a few days later on December 29th. The driver of the Range Rover, Adam Gauthier, 41, formerly of Somerset and now a Manhattan resident, suffered non-life-threatening injuries. He was arraigned from his hospital bed at New Bedford's St. Luke's Hospital on drunken driving charges of manslaughter while operating under the influence, among other charges, the day after the crash. Gauthier is free on a $100,000 cash bail. His criminal case is pending. How are the plaintiffs in the civil suit related to the victims? Rebello is the son of Donna Aruda. Aruda Graham is the daughter of Floriano Aruda. They are uncle and aunt of Jacoby Aruda, who was Floriano and Donna's grandson. What does the suit say happened on Christmas night? The complaint alleges that on the night of the crash, Gauthier was served his last pre-alcoholic beverage at the home of defendant Margaret R. Souza of Slade Street in Somerset. After leaving Souza's home, the complaint says Gauthier drove a 2023 Range Rover SUV eastbound in the westbound side of the Veterans Memorial Bridge, from the Somerset side to the Fall River side. Floriano Aruda was driving the family's SUV over the bridge from Fall River to Somerset, with Donna in the passenger seat and Jacoby in the back. The complaint alleges the crash was caused by Gauthier's carelessness, recklessness, negligence, gross negligence, willfulness, wantonness, and unlawfulness, resulting in the death of all 3 family members. Who else is named in the suit? The lawsuit accuses Souza of violating social host liability ordinances. It alleges she served Gauthier alcohol at her home when she knew or should have known that defendant Gauthier was intoxicated and would thereafter be operating a motor vehicle on a public way. Souza has denied the allegations. The lawsuit also names Go Real Car Inc. of New York as a defendant. Real Car is a service that provides high-end luxury vehicles for rent, including Land Rovers, Porsches, and Maserati. Gauthier used the service to rent the Range Rover he was driving. The suit cites a Massachusetts law stating that the owner and registrant of a vehicle can be held legally liable when attempting to recover damages after an injury or death from collision. Of the 3 defendants, only Souza has so far filed an answer to the complaint. Her attorneys state she admits that Gauthier consumed alcohol at her home at a family holiday gathering. However, she denies the claim that she knew he was drunk and going to drive. Souza says she cannot know if her house was where Gauthier allegedly drank his last pre-alcoholic beverages. The complaint requests a jury trial. The case is pending. This has been Eleanor, and you've been listening to the Audible Local Ledger Live. Hope you enjoy.